show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now.
Good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us here on Dogs on the Run. The Ohio State Buckeyes are in the national semifinal. Yeah, that's what we got.
That's what everybody's excited for this morning.
Yeah, no.
I mean, that's good. And that'll be something that we'll talk about and enjoy.
Yes, we'll have some fun with that. But meanwhile, your Cleveland Browns lost yesterday, 25-24. We've got an unbelievable show for you. It's a bitter feeling this morning because it feels like it's another season gone. You can point the finger in a million different directions, but at this point, I think when it comes to the quarterback question, which we're asking on Twitter, I got to believe it's Johnny Manziel the rest of the way. Why not? Why not go with Johnny Manziel the rest of the way?
At this point, why not go with them? I think it's more, though, when you look at yesterday's game and you look at why Mike Pettin did or did not go to him, and we'll never get the complete answer as to why. I do think some people, though, Mike Pettin wants to win football games.
Sure.
More so than you. More so than I want them to win. This is his job. This is, at the end of the day, what is he graded by?
Wins and losses.
Wins and losses. And no one's going to care a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, why you lost that game in December. They're just going to say, hey, you're 7 and whatever that season. And for them not to go to Johnny, yes, they were winning the game. Yes, that's the guy the veterans wanted to go with. But to me, it tells you there's more going on with Johnny Manziel than any of us care to know or do know at this point in time.
Eric, the referee, good morning to you.
Hello, hello.
Hello, it's good to see you here this morning. What do we got coming up on the show?
We got a jam-packed show. Obviously, the talk is the quarterback. I mean, is it time to go to Johnny Manziel, or are we going to go out to Tim Couch? I mean, he looks pretty good shape. I mean, I think he can go.
Tim. I think Tim can play.
Yeah, I think he could bring us that game. We'll hear from him on the quarterback, so we got a jam-packed show. We'll go to Indy. We got a Browns backer from Chicago, so jam-packed show today.
All right, his energy level through the roof.
Oh, yeah, he's way to go. Me, us too.
That's good.
Hey, I bring my A game every day, like Ohio State.
If this is your A game, I'm scared.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
brag to say this is my
All right, we're going to go to the phones real quick here. We're going to go to George on Skype 1 as well. Good morning. Way to lead us off as usual. At least you have your little brownie behind you there, Guy. What do you think this morning?
Oh, God. It's all fucked up. I want to give Andre a shout-out for his high school coverage this weekend.
Oh, thank you, George.
We can't forget about St. Ed's and especially Benedict coming home with championship.
Absolutely. And those Kirtland
Great job.
kids, too. Think about those Kirtland seniors.
I didn't want to talk.
Let's not think about that.
Only Mount Union is the only other school that I could ever think of that went 58-2 over 4 years.
It's unbelievable. They played 60 games in 4 years. Unbelievable.
George, what do you got on the Browns game?
Reminded me of that one movie, Agony and Ecstasy, where unfortunately the title's reversed. We got Agony again. And right now who gives a flying fuck who they put in quarterback? And we really don't know the whole story. They're not going to give it to us. And the upper echelon, they must be enamored in Johnny Manziel.
Wait, how can you say that? The upper echelon enamored?
Well, how can I say that? Just my own analysis, because it just reminds me of Dan Snyder in Washington a little bit.
I can see that.
Just a tiny little bit. And I'm not going to go expanding over it. The whole situation's fucked up. The minute we let Manziel into the Buffalo game, we knew we were going to have a powder keg of a controversy.
You're right.
We're 7-6. Okay, I'll live with that. We got 3 games left. Why not? Let's see what we got.
All right,
George.
George.
We've gone through so many quarterbacks, from Couch now to Hoyer, trying to get the one where we can hit the jackpot and finally get that Aaron Rodgers type of quarterback. Who the hell knows? I have a better chance going to the Horseshoe Casino and winning than I do with this.
You do. You actually do.
It's a great call,
playing
George.
roulette. All right.
And at least down south, not Columbus, but Cincinnati, they're feeling the same pissy fucking way we are this morning.
True. Steelers put one on them last night.
I did. All right, George, thank you. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a great week, and go Bucks.
All right, go
Take
Bucks.
care, George.
Let's go to the phones, and we're going to go to Tim real quick here in a second. Let's go to Kenneth in Bedford, who's been hanging out for a while. Hi, Kenneth. How are you?
How are you? How you doing?
Good. What's going on, man?
Well, hey, man, I just wanted to know what you guys were thinking as far as, direction going quarterback. I think that Brian Hoyer has been, fairly limited his abilities, and I just was wondering, why is it that they're taking so long to actually see Johnny, being that he was a first-round pick.
All right, Kenneth, thank you. We're having a little bit of trouble with your phone line. I think we got the gist of your questions, though. 216-431-3820.
Let me ask you this. If the Browns were 5-7, do you think Johnny would have been playing yesterday?
Yes.
Me too. Here, let's talk about Brian Hoyer. Let's start off there.
Let's bring Tim into the conversation.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring Tim in. Tim Couch, our third amigo on the show. Hi, Tim. How are you?
Morning.
Good morning to you. All right, so many things to talk about here this morning. First of all, let's just kind of all get our thoughts out on the quarterback situation. Tim, you start. Your thoughts on what's going on with the quarterback situation.
I've been a big supporter of Hoyer all season long. No mistake about that. I felt like he's been the right guy for this team. But, right now, after this last week, after yesterday's game against the Colts, it's hard for me to say he still should be the guy. I think if you look over, the last, 4 games or so, he's under 50% completion percentage, 8 interceptions, 1 touchdown. The offense has stalled. It's just not moving. I think Brian, the biggest thing, has lost confidence in himself. I see him as a guy who, early in the season, those throws he missed yesterday, Josh down the sideline, I think it was Benjamin down the middle, wide open throws that Brian was absolutely on target early in the year, hitting those big plays. He missed them by 4 or 5 yards yesterday. It wasn't even close. And, to me, that's a sign of a guy who's lost his confidence. It's not a skill set thing. We've seen Brian make those type of throws, but right now, he's just not making them on a consistent basis, and I think he's kind of looking over his shoulder a little bit. I think he's frustrated with himself and the offense that they're not moving the ball, not putting points on the board like they were earlier in the year. And, it's probably time for a change to put Manziel in and see if he can spark the offense a little bit.
I think you just hit on it, Sam. He's lost his confidence. And when you lose your confidence in any job, whether it be radio, television, playing football, basketball, if you don't know how to gain it and get back and pull yourself back up, it will bring the team down. And that's what's happening right now. Brian had that for the first 8, 9, 10 weeks of the season. I don't know if it was getting pulled in Buffalo. I don't know if it's the offense not fitting, because Tim just hit on something. As bad as he would play throughout the early parts of the season, when he had open guys downfield, he hit them. And, people would, say, oh, that was a duck, or that one didn't get far enough. But he got the ball downfield. And we can think of 2 plays, all of us, right off the top of our head. If he hits them, game over. The other questionable thing is how they're using Josh Gordon. 3 weeks ago, you come out and you throw it to him 17 times. Yesterday, you take him out on 3rd down. Shouldn't it have been the other way around? That just doesn't make sense. It does make sense, but it doesn't. I think this coaching staff is learning a lot about this team, and they're learning with all eyes of the NFL paying attention right now.
I think the other point here, too, is the most important stat is 12. That's where the Browns are in the AFC right now.
Yeah.
They're 12th. The only difference between them than the Jets, with 2 wins, the Jets have more tiebreakers than the Browns do right now. So, it's nothing against Brian Hoyer. I like Brian. I think Brian has done a good job for this team. That we've seen garbage. Nobody expected more than 4 or 5 wins this season. I'm hard-pressed to find that. But I do have to see what you have for next year, and let's see what Manziel has. You're going to put him in a situation where, I don't want to say the cupboard's not bare, but there's a little bit there to play for.
It's a little bit.
You go out there, you get 3 wins, you get this team to the playoffs, you can change some things around.
All right, but now I'm
not saying you're getting the playoffs.
But what does it say that Pettin wouldn't go to him yesterday? Really read the tea leaves. Everybody and their mom thought they should have gone to him, and the coach wouldn't.
Because once he turned the key, it's over.
But didn't he turn that key a week ago?
No, I don't think so, because last week I thought he was looking for a spark. I think he said, let's put this guy in with a spark. The only problem I have with that spark argument is it was with 9 minutes to go.
Last week.
Yeah, last week. So that was my issue there. Yesterday, it was Brian's game to win. And if Brian, look.
And they were winning all game.
If Josh catches that ball at the end, they got a field goal and they got a chance to win the game, regardless of all the other garbage that's happened in the game. Yeah, regardless of how bad they were in the 3rd quarter. Tim, what do you think of that?
I'm sorry, you guys cut out. I couldn't hear the question.
That's right. It's just more a point of, where Brian is right now. And, you talked about the confidence level. And if you're Mike Pettin, would you have switched yesterday?
It was the second half was just brutal. I think in the 3rd quarter they had about less than 20 yards of total offense. They couldn't stay on the field. And, I kind of was expecting to see Johnny in that second half because, you hate to waste a performance like that from the defensive side of the ball, where they're creating turnovers. They scored 2 touchdowns, and then offensively, you just can't stay on the field. I mean, we couldn't run the ball in the second half because they couldn't hit any throws. And I think that the Colts were really stacking the box. They were getting in and just loading up on the run because there was really no threat of hitting a big play over the top because they hadn't been able to do it the entire game. So I thought that maybe he may bring Johnny in that second half just to, if nothing else, just to kind of let the guy run around a little bit, spread the field, go 4 or 5 wide receivers, create some of those natural running lanes for Johnny if it's not there down the field, just to tuck and run, just to stay on the field for anything, just to keep the defense on the sideline for a little bit, let them get a little bit of a rest. But there were so many 3 and outs, especially in that second half, and just couldn't get a first down, that I thought that maybe we might see Johnny in that second half.
I thought so, Tim. What time did you get to games on game day? Just curious.
I was always a first bus guy. I would get there as early as I possibly could. I kind of like to ease into the day, get a good, get a good stretch, get out on the field, kind of throw some balls a little bit, and I didn't like to feel rushed. I think I saw yesterday where Johnny's kind of a second or third bus guy, where he kind of gets there and just goes, doesn't do anything pregame, just goes out for the the team warm-ups and those kind of things. But I was definitely different than that. I would like to get there as early as I could and kind of ease into it.
And when you did that, you did it for you, but don't you also as a quarterback do it so your teammates see you're ready and they can follow you?
Absolutely. I mean, and it's the same thing as, being in the building during the week. I wanted, when the guys came in the morning for the team meeting, I wanted them to see me either in the film room, in the weight room, in the training room if I needed treatment, anything like that. I just wanted the guys to see me in there because, I felt like, if you're the quarterback and you feel like it's your football team, you're almost like the head coach. When you walk in that building, you're going to see Coach Pettin. You're going to see the general manager. You're going to see those guys. Well, they need to see you too, that you're fully committed to being there. And, I'm not knocking Johnny. That's just his style. It's the way he does it. That's just how I preferred to do it and how I went about it.
Tim, you don't have to knock him. That's how most quarterbacks go about it. I'm not knocking Johnny either. But traditionally in the NFL and in football, you expect a little bit more out of your quarterback. And I don't think a lot of fans understand that because you try to have the conversations with them and they go, well, Joe Hayden goes to Cavs games or this guy goes to Cavs games. Well, those guys are established and they aren't the face of the organization. When you're the quarterback of the team, you are the face of the team. We know Mike Pettin's father's a head coach. He's grown up in it. I think from Coach Pettin's standpoint, there's a way a quarterback carries himself and Johnny doesn't.
So what has to happen? So this is now by default that he's getting the job? You're saying that Mike Pettin is putting him out there just because he has to, because he's a first-round pick at this point?
That's the only other reason to put him out there. For him not to put him out there yesterday, Andy tells me they don't like how he prepares throughout the week. And you've heard stories like I've heard stories. There's something to it. I mean, a quarterback, I did sideline for a pretty long time. I never saw a quarterback show up at 11 o'clock. All quarterbacks were on that first bus. Some of them would get up earlier than the first bus and cab over to the field because they didn't want their guys to see them not there. And that's why Joe Thomas and the veterans go, we want to play with this guy. We don't want to. And this isn't taking anything away from Johnny. But I had people tell me last week Johnny couldn't even get the plays out in the huddle. So if you can't get plays out in the huddle, what do you think the rest of the offensive line is saying?
I got a question for you guys, too. What do you think it shows? I mean, Manziel, you're on the cusp of starting. I mean, it's a close battle. Don't you want to show that you want to start? Don't you want to come there early to the game? Or do you want to come up like it's being reported that he was there at 10:55?
It's not reported. He was definitely there. They have it. He walked in at 10:58, 55.
If he's there at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning, then, is he playing yesterday?
I don't know. No, because I think this is something that goes on throughout the week. This is who he is. And I think at the end of the day, was it just yesterday when he showed up? No, but I think they're trying to say something to him. Just like they're trying to say something to Josh Gordon.
Yeah, well, guess what? He's not listening.
I don't.
If he's listening, he's there early yesterday. And no one's saying it. Tim, do you agree with that? Is he not listening? Is that why he's not playing?
Well, I think it's just probably frustrating. There's something going on that is causing Coach Pettin to be a little bit hesitant about putting Johnny in the game. And, whether it's, that kind of stuff, showing up, not on time, not being there early, those type of things, or whether it's just simply not picking up the playbook and not understanding the offense. You guys mentioned that he was struggling to call plays, in the huddle, those kind of things. Well, that's the transition he's going to have to make because at Texas A&M, they didn't even huddle. It was all, look to the sideline. The coach would call the play. It was all hurry up, no huddle, not under center, being in a shotgun all the time. All those things have to change when you become an NFL quarterback. So just the simple things about getting in the huddle, Using the verbiage to get the play called, all those kind of things are things they're all new to Johnny. So he's still learning on the fly, and I just think that it's a combination of all those things. But I think they probably feel he's just a little bit behind in picking up, the terminology of the offense, his reads, his progressions, just his overall understanding of how to pick up blitzes and where to go with the football. I think all those things kind of go into play.
Right. And on September 8th, that was okay. Right. On December 8th, you go, what the heck, right? It's December 8th. We got 3 games left. You should be on this.
But if you're the Browns right now, what do? You blow out both quarterbacks at the end of the season?
Well, the one thing that I'll say, and saying everything that I've said, if they did their research, this is who Johnny is. You should have been working. It was just like when they drafted Josh Gordon. And I remember sitting there with the GM at the time and going, hey, this kid is very talented, but he's had some off-field problems. And I remember him looking at me kind of crazy and going, oh, we'll have programs. We'll take care of them. You see where that's gotten them.
Absolutely. All right, Tim, we're going to come back to you in a little bit. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, guys.
All right, we'll talk to you a little bit. Let's go back to Faith Boone, who's in the newsroom right now. And Faith, welcome back. It's good to see you here again. Hello, how are you?
Hi, guys. I'm good.
Faith.
How are you?
Good. What's the word on Twitter and Facebook this morning?
Oh, my gosh. It's just ridiculous. I mean, I was watching the game yesterday, and I was watching it very intensely. And I was screaming. I don't scream at games. But on Twitter, people are just basically calling Hoyer a joke. We have a poll up on the Dogs on the Run page right now, and I asked people, is it time to make the change? And we almost have 100 votes so far.
Sure.
It's pretty good for 7 o'clock in the morning. And people are definitely saying that, yes, it's definitely time to make a change. But what people are really saying on Twitter is just that, there are quite a few people saying that Pettin should be fired.
See, that I don't agree with.
That's ridiculous.
I think
Cleveland
that's
at
a
its
little
finest.
extreme.
You're going to fire Pettin.
He's won more games than anybody expected them to win already, but that just
Right?
But that tells you how our town is. We all just blow things out of proportion. At some point in time, don't we got to trust that the coach knows more than you or I?
Right.
Whether I agree with him or not,
Yeah.
he knows more than I do.
But I will say this. When I was watching the game, Pettin doesn't make any facial expressions, does he?
Doesn't what?
He doesn't make any facial expressions.
Oh, I saw one yesterday when he missed the field goal.
He had a couple yesterday.
Yeah,
At the very end, I found
what difference does it make if a guy is over the top crazy or a guy is stoic on the sidelines? At the end, it's about winning. It's about being able to walk in that press conference and go, you know what, our guys played our best game and we won today, or we lost today.
Right.
I mean, we talk about quarterbacks being a game manager. Head coach has to be the ultimate game manager.
And he was emotional yesterday. He didn't like when they turned over the catch on Gordon. Didn't like the missed field goal. And there were a couple of pass interference calls that weren't really good.
There were a lot of things that just were not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so what's going on social then? Tell us how people can get interactive in the show.
You can find us on Twitter by looking for follows and look under the hashtag Dogs on the Run. Use the hashtag Dogs on the Run. And then on Facebook, you can find us there as well. And you can still use the hashtag Dogs on the Run, and I can find your posts there as well.
All right. Thank you, Faith. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you in a little bit. Good stuff. All right.